Hey everyone. So, I've been debating what to do next on this channel for a while now, actually. I'm not really sure what the correct direction to go into directly is, but I think a good thing to kind of reset the tone would be a quick overview of what I've watched, my history watching anime, kind of stuff like that, my general thoughts on a bunch of shows, just in pretty vague terms, uh, so that people who watch my channel can kind of get an overview as to what they can expect out of my taste, maybe a little bit, and what my perspective is coming from, and compare it to their own when watching my videos, so they can kind of get a better idea of the lens through which I'm reviewing things. Uh, I think consistency is important with any reviewer, so that being said, I think this would be a good way to kind of get everyone on the same page a little bit, or at least a little bit further understand where I'm coming from here. So I just got my Mal pulled up. If you want to add me on there or something, it's just PokeCall37 at the top here. I'll probably put it in the description. But you can see right now I'm watching currently Legend of Galactic Heroes. I know I haven't watched that yet, Jesus. Jujutsu Kaisen because it's pretty big. And I haven't actually been watching this in a couple years, but I really do intend to finish it because it's really good. But welcome to NHK. I'm just going to sort by score and kind of just go through pretty much all the stuff on my list here. This is going to be more of a vlog type deal rather than some of the other content on my channel. Most of the content on my channel, in fact, is going to be way more structured than this, so apologies if that's what you came for, but I will be getting back to that form here in a while, but I think a vlog type overview would work better than something structured for this type of content. So that being said, now that we're kind of all settled here, I'm just going to get into talking about stuff. So my 10s. Shows I like the most, of course. Ashinojo Season 2. I'll probably do infinite numbers of videos on these at any point. My first video on this channel is about Ashinojo, right? And just a tiny small part of it. To encompass all my feelings on it would be pretty impossible. It covers such a wide array of emotion and experience that I relate to on so many levels that I could never really communicate it fully in words, but over the course of this channel I will probably attempt to do so, or just touch on multiple things that I think I can communicate on the best. I'm by nature a very competitive person, so a sports anime that looks at it through this lens resonates with me a lot more than even most other sports anime. Not much else to be said there, really. We'll touch on that more throughout the course of this channel. We got Cowboy Bebop. My tags here are basically just mini reviews, kind of. Deeply enjoyable, relatable, endearing. It's impossible to look at this show and, for me, not think of all these characters as amazing and so completely human that it just wins you over so hard. Among other things that this does really well is a lot of unique and interesting concepts for episodes that I enjoyed a lot. But I think really the incredible thing is, aesthetically, it is just fantastic. Shinichiro no Watanabe just captured this world so perfectly. The depth of world building here is communicated on a level that pretty much no other anime has ever, I would say, come close to achieving. Just the way this world visually tells you everything you need to know about it is just fantastic. Like, it feels like I'm looking at places I've been to, or it feels like a real city where people live. It covers topics of like poverty and how people in those communities act in such a way that it's just like, it's so accurate. I've lived in plenty of ghettos and all kinds of places like that, of lower income places, and so it really resonates with me personally how well they portray some of these places. So it does so many things so perfectly that it's really hard to have any faults with it. My faults with it would be like a couple episodes where maybe it doesn't really feel like the gimmick is worth the time of being in the show. Like the episode with the alien goo thing from the fridge. It's kind of funny and like it's not bad at all, but less interesting. I like it as a throwback to like horror genre and stuff like that, but it's not nearly as engaging as the rest. Uh, a lot of people will complain about lack of a consistent narrative in this show, which I think is maybe the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Because like, well, only like 4 or 5 episodes progressed the main plot, and it's like the main plot is these characters' experiences and how they cope with them. Like, you can't have an episode of this show where they interact with other human beings and relate to them and make decisions based off that where it's not advancing the main plot. And to consider a story through such a lens where only what you can physically say has happened is eventful and meaningful to you is so narrow and seems very arbitrary. So I think this show is just fantastic, perfect in so many ways. I could talk about it all day. Casher and Sins, this is the most recent addition to my 10s, but you see me throw a lot of words at it here, but it's kind of just, the show looks fantastic. It's really incredible how fantastic this show looks. I love the character designs a lot. I'm a big fan of crazy hairstyles, and the show has a lot of them. Some of the still shots, maybe the faces people would have issues with, but I think it adds a lot of character. And the way they do coloring in the show and the way so many of these shots are composed is so interesting. It's so much fun to watch at any given time. And that's to say nothing of the actual content and plot and characterization within the show, which I think is all masterful. You'll see some people in like comment sections like here maybe give it some flack, or on Reddit as well, I've seen. But I think it's pretty undeserved. A lot of people pretty confused about the ending. Not really sure why, but when I've gone through it, every time I looked, I thought, well, I mean, it made pretty good sense to me and was pretty internally consistent. But, you know, I don't think this show really does anything wrong. The only thing I could fault this show for is, like, maybe in the latter half, there was some times where I was, like, kind of hoping it would get to its final point already. Like, maybe this show could have done better with, like, 18 episodes instead of 24. But I think that's a really specific request. And as we know, anime is pretty... what's the word? It has to stay within certain boundaries. It airs on television often, and there's expected boundaries. You don't see a lot of shows outside the 12 to 13 to, like, 10 to 13 episodes or 2 seasons where they just double that kind of thing. You don't see a lot of shows that aren't just multiples of somewhere from 10 to 13. And you don't see a lot of variance in episode lengths, stuff like that. So this show, though, even then, I wouldn't say any of the, like I would say maybe it would be better if it was a tiny bit shorter, but I wouldn't really want to cut anything. I think it's all fantastic. There's so many episodes that are just on their own, standalone, amazing, fantastic. The first half, like, closer was some of the most emotional episodes of anime I've ever seen. It hit so hard. The show is fantastic at conveying its messages. And one thing I really enjoy about it is how scarce it is with dialogue. There's good chunks of episodes where nobody says anything, but everything you need to know is conveyed visually. And I think it's really masterful to create an engaging narrative through that way. I would recommend the show to pretty much anybody. So those are my 10s, favorites. By the way, the scale I use for actually I don't have it here, but the scale I use for rating shows is similar to formerly known as Digi, the Golden Witch, her scale for rating anime. That's pretty much what I use. I'll pull it up here in a second. But essentially, here, let's see. Alright, basically, it's this scale. 10, all-time favorite. Conceptually, love it. 9 out of 10. Maybe there's one or two things I don't like that much, but it's overall fantastic, a favorite. 8 to 10. Maybe there's a couple things that don't appeal to me, but overall, very good. I'll probably revisit. 8 out of 10s, I think, are generally where a lot of the really big interest comes from in shows. My 8 out of 10 region is like, there's a lot of shows there, and it's really hard to rank them, because I like them all for different reasons and to different degrees, but they all do a lot of things much differently, and it's really hard to quantify. I think this area of a scale is really interesting to me. 7 out of 10 is something overall I liked, and I'll probably rewatch it at some point, but I wouldn't necessarily go out of my way, right? Nothing to make me hate it. Maybe some moments I don't like, right? 6 out of 10. This is like where it kind of gets to the point where I'm like considering whether or not I really like this show at all. Like, this is the point where I'm like, yeah, I like this show, but, or stuff like that. Generally, I consider anything above a 5 to be worth my time. That I might have had a lot of issues with it, but anything above a 5, I would say I am glad I finished and glad I watched. But 6 is like right on that tinge where it's like it just comes over the top with enough stuff that I like that it was worth my time probably. 5 is really hard to quantify for me. I probably throw a lot of stuff in here, probably too much. And overall, I think my bottom half, while it's defined pretty well, I don't categorize enough shows like that because I've watched a lot of random garbage from when I was younger that I probably will never go back and rewatch. But 5 is where it's like, I probably would want to drop it. It's probably not worth my time overall. The biggest thing that sets a 6 from a 5 apart from me is 6. I wouldn't tell myself to drop it. Like, overall, I would be like happy that I finished it. But 5, I would say I would probably rather not have watched it, all being said. I really like the turn of phrase here, but if I could tell my past self not to watch them, I would. I think watching something in its entirety as an experience is very valuable, but I also think not wasting your own time and getting through all the stuff you might like is even more important. 4 out of 10, actively boring, right? Some moments I like, but a lot of stuff I dislike. 3 out of 10, trashy, boring. Has one or two appealing things, but not gonna salvage it. 2 out of 10, I'm passing out watching the show. Either unwatchably bland or outright bad. I really love this turn of phrase here from The Golden Witch. And then 1 out of 10 is, this is where it goes from, like, it's not offensive in any way, it's just, like, completely unworth my attention. And then this is where it's, like, I actively dislike it. Like, I'm, like, hating it, watching it. Maybe you could put some of that into 2 out of 10 also. Maybe the border of that would actually be closer to 2, but this is my general scale, right? So we've got my 9s now. That being said, Jinro, Wolf Brigade, watch this on because I figured out about it from Demolition D's channel, right? That's probably the most popular review of it and probably put it on the map for a lot of people. Honestly, not that unpopular now that probably mostly due to Demo's influence, but really good movie. I really love the aesthetic. I'll click into this trailer real quick. We don't want to hear it though. Yeah, you even see Demo's review on there. I really love the aesthetic of this. Like, it has this hand-drawn, like, expertly crafted feel to it. Everything looks fantastic. And I really love the designs of the actual Wolf Brigade themselves, the suits. Uh, they just look so fantastic, and they sound like amazing. You can just hear the inner machinations of the armor moving, just the really satisfying clicks and clacks that just make it so satisfying to watch. But speaking more of the plot and stuff, main character, I find him very interesting, and I enjoyed watching him a lot. The ending works very well for him, but overall, it's kind of a, what's the word? It's about like an authoritarian police force and him getting suspended from it, and then having to make decisions based on his alliances from there, and coming to terms with who he is, kind of deal. It's a lot of people have issues with it because it kind of beats you over the head with the theming, right? There's Red Riding Hood, Wolf, blah 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 blah. But I think it's so much more than that overall. Maybe my opinion would be a little bit lower of it on a rewatch because, like, maybe the pacing I could see being a little bit of an issue. But I also really love contemplative, slow builds, and I find the setting really interesting. So I don't know if I would really consider any of that a negative. The only reason I would call it a 9 and not a 10 is just like some of the theming isn't as important to me as my 10s, and there are bits of it that I don't really care for as much. I'm not super huge on the theming of the Red Riding Hood was eaten up by the wolves, blah blah blah. That's not as interesting to me as everything else about it, but I think it's still extremely worth the watch. So this is where I think probably the my experience and age in anime starts to show. I think a lot of people would see that I have Code Geass very high and kind of call me a zoomer, right? Because I've got like, oh, Cowboy Bebop, ah yes, Ashita no Joe, ah yes, Casher and Sinza and Jinro, ah yes. So these classics from really the better days kind of thing, and it's like Zoomer show, maybe Zoomer show, extreme Zoomer shows. So on that topic, I got into really sitting down and saying I want to watch anime specifically, maybe 2012 to 2013-ish. And it was only about end of 2013, early 2014, where I was really obsessed and just watching everything I could get my hands on. And I mean everything. All these super trashy shows. I mean everything. But I think pretty much everyone goes through a phase like that, right? So I've only got about 200 shows on here. So my perspective is still lacking. I'm missing a lot of really, really good shows that I know I will like a lot, like Evangelion. I still haven't brought myself to watch. I'm only watching Legend of Galactic Heroes now, but so maybe that gives you a better perspective of how deep I am into it at this point. I like to think of myself as having thought of it for a long time. I mean, heck, it's almost been a decade, right, since I've been really just saying I want to watch anime specifically and think about it deeply. But that being said, Code Geass was one of the earlier shows I watched, probably 2014, 2015-ish, right? Back when this was one of those shows that everyone was like, oh, you have to watch you have to watch Death Note, you have to watch Code Geass. These are the smart, perfect shows everybody has to watch, kind of thing. And at the time, I completely agreed. I still agree that these shows are fantastic in a lot of ways. Code Geass in particular holds a lot of deeper meaning to me. I think my developmental thought process has been influenced by it a lot. Definitely at some point in time, I think a lot of young boys see themselves as a kind of Lelouch critical thinker, big smart man who has grandiose ambitions kind of thing. I don't think I was quite like that, but definitely traces of it, right? I think everybody has different parts of that within them in some ways. So to me, this show meant a lot to me, and its criticisms of that mindset were also really important to my development, I would say. Because I'm watching the show like, what, 13, 14 ish? Yeah, like 12, 13, 14, that kind of area. It meant a lot to me, and it still does mean a lot to me. I didn't watch the actual show. I've seen it like 4 or 5 times, right, all the way through, but I watched the recap movies, like, about a year ago, maybe a little bit less. No, it was over the summer, I want to say. And I was kind of surprised with how much I still liked it, because thinking about it now, a lot of what I think of is like some of the plot issues or the bad writing, right? Everyone hates the famous Euphemia scene. To me, the only thing that scene really does wrong, other than being kind of hard to swallow, and by kind of I mean very hard to swallow, is it kind of ruins our believability of Lelouch as kind of this martyr bad guy, because it takes his motivation from being like, if he went through with his original plan and did it on purpose, then it's, oh, he consciously made this decision and he has to bear that cross. But since it happens the way it happens, it's now, well, he didn't mean to, but he still bears the weight of it. So there's this layer of abstraction of like, well, it wasn't really his fault. That kind of ruins it a little bit, but I think it's really not much of an issue overall. As my stuff says here, I acknowledge there's some pretty bad writing in the show sometimes, but I think its uniqueness of perspective and the way it handles so many different topics is so interesting that it makes up for it a lot. Maybe the show would be better as an 8 on my list, given the number of flaws I have with it, but it's kind of hard to tell. The pacing definitely sometimes can feel like there's a couple episodes where not much happens, but I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell when there's such a well-developed cast of so many characters what is and isn't important. But I like it a lot regardless. So Kaiba, this is a more recent addition. I watched this, I think, over the summer at the request of my brother, and I really loved this show. The only thing I don't really like about it is how much I don't know. It's just a little bit not tied all together well enough, and I'm not big on themes of romance kind of deal. So like I don't like the opening very much. But overall, it looks fantastic. So many good ideas that executed pretty well, given 12 episodes only. Thinking about the show, so much happens, and so many unique concepts and ideas are explored that I can't believe the show is 12 episodes. I love the character design, pretty much. Like, Warp looks fantastic. I love the way he looks. The coloring of the show is just a really nice palette, I think. I love stuff by Masaki Yuasa in general. Where's he at? Yeah. Episode director boy. I love his style in general, so not a surprise that I ended up liking the show so much. I don't really have a ton of issues with it at all. Shiki, really, really good show. It's been a couple years since I've watched it, but I have watched it a couple times. Kind of a really high score. Every time I think about it, I'm like, oh man, this score is high. But then I think about how much I enjoy it, how much I think about it. It's definitely deserving of the score I gave it. The show's character designs are so funky and unique and weird, and I love them so much. I think my favorite thing about this show is just that all of the characters have such well-defined motivations and act so rationally, given, like, you can see the gears turning in their heads, and they always act how they probably should given their personality and information. Particularly, I love the doctor guy, Ozaki Toshio. He is fantastic. I definitely my favorite character in the show, I would say. So much of this cast, though, is interesting. Mainly, like, these five, right? But there's definitely a couple other ones that I like a lot. Like this man right here. You'll see people complain about the show surprisingly a lot. Like, it's not ranked crazy high, but it's pretty popular. I don't get why people hate this show so much, comparatively to how many have watched it. Like, 7 is definitely what the general consensus is for the show. I feel like people like it, but they always like it in spite of something. Stealing turn of phrase from Best Guy Ever. It's always in spite of the pacing, or in spite of the slow build-up, or in spite of a couple characters they didn't like. But I don't really feel that way at all. I feel like all of the build-up was interesting in its own right as I'm watching it. So I don't agree with those complaints, really. And a lot of people are like, oh, but it's supposed to be kind of more of a mystery show, and it's not fun if we know the point of the mystery where the characters are still trying to figure it out. Like, oh, duh, obviously it's vampires. How do they not know that, kind of thing? Or, oh, we have to watch them try to figure out that. But to me, a lot of the fun of it was watching a guy go around a town trying to convince people that vampires are killing everybody. Like, how well would that work if you were actually in a situation and you had to use your own reasoning and shoddy, at best, evidence to convince people? It doesn't work very well, turns out. But some drastic things happen, and eventually people find out, kind of deal. And it makes it so much more interesting to see that evolve naturally, right? I think they execute it fantastically. I don't think this show... I think 22 episodes was about perfect for the show. Could never be 12 episodes, and it doesn't need more. I think this part about me saying people look at it wrong 99% of the time is the part where they're like, oh, mystery, but I know the mystery. And it's like, the point of the mystery is, first of all, it's not really a mystery show. Like, it's evident from the first episode that it is vampires. But also, to me, the most interesting part about a mystery is seeing people trying to solve it rationally without all the answers. Just because you clicked on it and you see the title is Corpse Demon, and you know vampires are a trope, doesn't mean it's interesting to not have it revealed to you, or that kind of thing. So I think this show is fantastic. I don't really have any issues with it overall. Tatami Galaxy, I always think about moving the show down to an 8 because, like, in my head, this show is not 11 episodes. In my head, this show is, like, 16 episodes. Like, this show, honestly, I don't know how, but dragged a little bit for me, even though it's really fast and covers a lot of different things. But I think there was just, like, a lot of theming I didn't really care about as much as other people. But overall, it's extremely great looking. Covers stuff so fast and so well that it's pretty hard to get bored. Masaki Yuasa does it again, kind of deal. It's a fantastic show. This one's a big difference from the rest of my stuff. I really, really love High School of the Dead. The show is pretty trashy. Not even pretty trashy, very trashy. But it is so succinct with new ideas and fantastic execution. Directed by Tetsuro Araki, right? So, the directing is fantastic. All the action sequences flow so well and look so satisfying and realistic. It's fantastic. I've always been obsessed with zombies as a concept, Uh, so that it appeals to me on that level. And surprisingly, the writing is like, I think it's really interesting in this show. So many of these characters are like really interesting. Like Saiko Busujima and Takashi are so nuanced, surprisingly, and interesting that I find it myself thinking about them very often. They're fantastic characters. The show is never boring. The show doesn't. The production value is not amazing. There's like definitely some CG zombies sometimes, like in the background when there's like a fuck ton of them, and not everything looks amazing always, but most of the time it looks quite good, and good directing does so much for a show, despite like pretty mediocre uh, quality overall in terms of like technical aspects. Uh, a lot of good shots, a lot of memorable shots. I already talked about the tit bullet boob bounce one. The fact that people still talk about that shit just in my head cements how interesting a lot of it is. Uh, I find it really hard to talk about the appeal of the show. I mean, definitely it's a lot. Fan service is cool, and when done well, is fun to watch on its own, right? But I think people think for some reason that if a show has fan service, it can only be so good. When that's just not true. Like, it's a aspect that can be done well or worse, like anything else, and it shouldn't limit the show's quality at all. Just because it's not as quote unquote serious as other things does not mean it is less good or that the writing isn't fantastic in its own ways. So I think this show gets a bad rep and is really fantastic. I've rewatched the show a billion times, and also the dub is like really good. I think I've watched the dub and sub both many times. I like them about the same. Maybe the sub does some of the side characters better, but dub Takashi is very good, very good. Oh, and also for some reason this show just has a unique ending song for every episode, and they're all fantastic. I don't get it. They're all so good. Oh my gosh, let me find the artist so I can shill them. What is her name? Oh, Kurosaki Maon. Yeah, she is fantastic. These are on YouTube now, actually. They re-uploaded them in high quality, right? And I've been listening to these over and over. She basically just wrote a whole ass album for the show's ending themes. So she has a whole unique, like, 5-minute song for each of the ending episodes of this show. And they are all fantastic songs. Like, crazy good. I listen to these songs on repeat all the time. But enough about that. So, next show, Lock Horizon. I fucking love this show and the second season. I would give them both a 9. Production quality, not ridiculously impressive, pretty standard-ish. Overall, I think it looks pretty solid, and there's some CG, but it's really pretty well done, I would say. I just, the show, Digi, aka Golden Witch, has a series of videos on the show that cover a lot of the appeal of it. But to sum it up, basically, the amount of ideas and how well they are executed is so interesting, and Shiroi as a character is so relatable in a lot of very personal ways that his development I find very inspiring and fun to watch. This show is pretty perfect, other than like mediocre production quality, and I don't know, maybe the character designs are a bit dated, right? But I think they look pretty good overall. There's a couple that I don't really like as much, but this show is just like perfect for the most part. Season 2 is like I write here, higher peaks but probably lower lows. There's a couple more episodes in season 2 where I'm like not as much invested in what's happening, but there's also more episodes where I'm like at the edge of my seat, loving every moment, and it's like defining my life kind of thing. So many shots from this season in particular are just stuck in my head and live in my consciousness, and probably will for like the rest of my life. So I think it's a fantastic, fantastic show. I would recommend it to pretty much anyone who thinks and likes stuff. So we've also got Ping Pong Animation. This show's pretty self-explanatory. There's a ton of analysis of it. Good video by, what's his name, Steak Bentley, I believe, on YouTube about it. The show looks fantastic. It's Masaki Yuasa again, about competition in sports, and probably the best done and most in detail sports narrative out there, aside from like Ashitanojo, even though Ashitanojo is less a bit about the sport itself and more on a personal level. It's pretty much the best done for in terms of that on the sport itself and about the nature of competition itself rather than the personal level. Looks fucking amazing. This show looks perfect at all times. Expertly directed. You can't really say much wrong about it. My only grievances would be like, not everything is as important to me as my 10s, and some of the build-up maybe is a little bit harder to be invested in, or some of the side characters maybe you don't care about as much, but I think overall it's pretty perfect. Here's my favorite animated part of JoJo. I only started reading the manga after part 4 aired, and I read all of part 5 before it aired, and then I'm like halfway through part 6. I've been spoiled on it, but it's whatever. This is the first part where you're like, wow, this guy likes JoJo's Bizarre Adventure a lot, and I mean, for good reason. This show has gotten such crazy popularity. Like, for the 4th season of something to be like over 500,000 members on Mal is pretty crazy. Like, there's only a handful of shows like that. This show is a cultural phenomenon, and it's easy to see why. There's so much to like and get lost in, and I think part 4 is the best of the animated parts in terms of the writing and structure by far. The cast is also the best, I would say. I really, really love the cast of part 3, but part 4 has it beat. I just say here, yeah, it's well-paced and narrative-driven. I'm a big Jotaro stan, so more of him in the show is fantastic. Especially the fight at Centipede Shoes. I have rewatched that a quadrillion times. The show just does so much right, and is so unique and interesting in so many ways, and has such interesting characters and concepts that it's pretty hard to dislike. Mob Psycho 100. I think everybody's talked about how fantastic the show is. The show doesn't really do much wrong other than it like, I think your score of the show is just how much you care about the themes in particular. For me, I like them a lot, but they're not like the most important thing ever to me. 1 and 2, both fantastic. They look amazing. I don't even need to talk about the show probably. So now we got into my 8s. The other shows I have a few more issues with maybe, but overall like a lot. Higurashi. It has been several years since I've watched the show, but I've watched it a couple times, and I really like this show, just for how dark it is and how the analysis of the characters is so interesting, and their motivations and trying to figure out what actually is happening here in the story is just beyond interesting to me. I definitely owe it to myself, and I think everybody owes it to them, to watch/read the visual novel. So I haven't read the visual novel yet, and I really need to, but I can't say if the anime is a good substitute or not. Of course, if you want the most accurate possible experience, read the visual novel, but I think the anime as a standalone is also very good. But we'll see how that compares. Welcome to NHK. I'm only halfway through this. I'll probably end up changing my score of this, either higher or lower. Probably higher. by the time I finish. But this show just it hurts. It hurts to watch, and it hurts because it is so personal and relatable, and it makes too much sense. You owe it to yourself to probably watch this. Death Note. Well, what can you really say about Death Note that hasn't been said? It's so immediately gripping and interesting conceptually that it's hard to put it down, and the execution is so good. I like me some smart boys doing smart boy battles, so it's a good time. Yeah, fucking popularity #1. This is like the show everybody's seen. I mean, it got a fucking Netflix adaptation movie that was also popular. Like, the sheer absurdity. People say last third isn't as good, and at the time I definitely feel that. I felt that way. I don't know if I would really feel that way on a rewatch. I haven't rewatched it in quite a while, or if I do, it's usually just like I rewatch the first couple episodes. But I would still recommend the show to anybody. Like, the show is fantastic. Lucky Star. This one's. I feel like people. I think recently the common sentiment I've heard over the last several years is that this show is not that good, which I find so crazy because this is probably like my favorite slice of life, maybe, or like of the really slice of life ones, like this and K-On! Probably. This show is just so entertaining and easy to watch and fun. People used to shit on it for like, oh, there's too many references. Why they just reference so many things, and if you don't get the reference, it's not fun. You're just wasting your time. And it's like, at the time I watched this, probably like what 2013ish, for the first time, anyways. I didn't know what initial D was, but the part where the God, I don't remember her name, drives the car and gets into an initial D style like drifting race with another car, and the whole animation style changes, and it's a big hilarious gag. I thought that was the funniest shit ever, and I didn't even know that it was like parodying Initial D. I think that says a lot about how good references can be funny no matter what, and are only just more fun when you come back to them, even knowing about it further. So I think references being like bad comedy or some stupid shit like that is completely inane. And the show just covers so much that's just like, oh yeah, I've done that in my life before, or oh yeah, I hate when I wake up and I feel this exact way and I don't get anything done. Stuff like that. It's just the most relatable show, and it's just so much fun to watch. It's so easy to watch. And the Lucky Channel bits at the end are the funniest shit ever. So, Higurashi, Season 2. Same kind of deal. Good conclusion. Very fun. Gurren Lagann. I always struggle with whether this show is like an 8 or a 9. I think 8 is more fitting for me because I do have some pretty big issues with it overall, but it does what it does so fantastically. And Best Guy Ever's video shows us about how fantastic the writing is. I already thought all that, and I already liked all that, but it's still just, there's a couple things that drag for me, or a couple things I don't care as much about, but overall it looks fantastic. Thematically is amazing, and it's so much fun to watch. The directing is amazing. I love the fights. I love the characters. I love the concepts and ideas that it comes up with. All the personal responsibility theming and how controlling yourself is so important. I find that all so interesting, and it's not something that's really covered in a lot of other shows, or even to this degree at all. So I think this show is amazing. I would recommend this to pretty much anybody. Durara, I could honestly, on a rewatch, see myself moving this up to a 9. But at the current moment, when I think of it, it's like, oh man, the show really was 24 episodes. And you can kind of tell, because there's some episodes and plot lines that fall off and aren't quite as interesting, or really just take too long to make their point. And you can kind of feel the constraints of anime happening, where it's like, yeah, we sure have to make a whole episode about this plot line rather than part of an episode, or half of an episode, or 2/3 of an episode. But formerly Digi has a good video on this. She has a lot of really good videos, and my taste is influenced by her a lot. So check those out when they're re-uploaded to some YouTube channels, since their channel is going down. Or rebranding, I should say. Good videos about why the cast is so interesting. I mean, what is it, episode 2 of this show with Isaiah? That whole episode spanning plotline is just like, shows you how fantastic the concepts and writing of the show are. What's his name? Kitahara, the blonde guy. Is it Kitahara or is it Kita Masumi? Yeah, I'm thinking of a different guy. I find his whole arc is fantastic, and I love him so much. I see a lot of myself in him in some ways, but in some ways not. I think this show is just generally very fantastic. And it's just entertaining on all levels, all the time. I mean, you can't watch a scene with Isaiah or Shizuo without being like breaking out into a grin and loving every bit of it. So definitely hard recommend. Steins Gate, I used to like the show more, and honestly I think about moving the show down to like a 7 sometimes, because I feel like the pacing in the middle just is really rough and not as interesting. But here's the episode where we go on a date with the guy, except what if in this timeline the guy was a girl? Oh my gosh. And it's like, wow, that's a whole episode? Okay. Even though we were at the dramatic part of the narrative? No? Okay, sure. I still think this show is fantastic, though. I think really just the bad things stick out in my head more than the good things, because it's been so long since I've watched it. But the premise is fantastic. And similarly to Digi, the show was like something I considered a favorite from very early on. Just the way the characters spoke and had conversation and how uniquely it was framed was just my favorite thing in the world. And then to see that come together in a satisfying narrative with stakes and build up and payoff was amazing. Really good show. I hear the visual novel is even better, and I haven't seen the second season, but I hear it fails in a lot of the places that the first succeeded. So read the visual novel probably. Psycho-Pass. This was also one of the earlier shows I watched, and I loved it a lot at the time. I rewatched it here a few months ago, so quite recently, and I still liked it a lot. Rewatching it, at times I felt myself a little bit disappointed by like the scope of the narrative not being wide enough, or like the ideas not being tackled in enough depth, maybe, or like that the stakes weren't, or what's the word, it wasn't more morally gray, maybe. Like I love the show a lot, and I think it covers its unique ideas in a fantastic array of everything. But sometimes I did definitely feel like Makishima Shogo is like a little bit too extreme to like really justify or side with, or to hit a satisfying middle point. But I still consider him one of my favorite characters of all time, and I still consider the show one of my favorites. Same with Kogumi Shinya. The show is really fantastic, though. I do feel sometimes it felt like it dragged a little bit, but overall it looks fantastic, sounds fantastic. The writing is consistently quite strong. And just like the sheer maturity of the show and how resolute it is with its ideals is so interesting. I'm not going to spoil the ending, but it's probably not how most people thought it would end, right? I find the unique direction it ends with very interesting. So JoJo Part 1 plus 2. As a whole, I would give Part 1 plus 2 probably an 8. But only because like Part 1's like a 6 or a 7, and Part 2 is like a strong 8 or a light 9. So maybe it averages like lower end of 8-ish. I mean, it's fantastic. I'm not as enamored with part 2 as a lot of people are. Just because sometimes watching part 2, I get really sick of like, no tell, only show the trick after. And it's like, haha, actually, I walked around this entire ring with a wire. And it's like, huh, you actually did not. You've been standing there on my screen the entire time. And like, in my head, there's no actual way that this could have been conveyed properly. Something that would work better in manga, probably, than anime. But there's just some things it's like, yeah, okay, I guess I buy that. But overall, it's massively entertaining and just a really good watch. It looks fantastic, and I love the characters so much. So, Snafu. So I have season 1, 2 Snafu as 8s, and I have the final season, which I just finished very recently, like this week, literally, as a 7. I like the show a lot. A lot of people give it shit for like kind of being like Zoomer bait and like, oh, it's like Haruhi, but like a parody and worse, stuff like that. I think this show is very different from most of the cynical kind of teen drama stuff in that it actually has the thematic depth to back up the cynicism and what it's covering. And like, to me, this show has some of the best conversations of any anime, whereas like, we'll get to Bakemonogatari, which I have lower on here, where I felt like the conversations lacked any actual depth or communication, where in these shows, I feel like it really hit that perfect sweet point of just doing it all so correctly that I love it a lot for that. Being a teen, like the first time I watched it, and it was really insightful to me, and I enjoyed it a lot. Only an 8, not like a 9 or a 10, because there's still some parts that are kind of boring. There's still some parts that are kind of melodramatic, where it's like, I simply would not do the stupid thing. But, you know, that's just kind of how it goes a little bit. Senyu 1 and 2. It's a comedy short thing, like 4-minute episodes. Fucking hilarious. Watched it for the first time in a Skype call with some friends. It was a riot. I was crying, laughing the whole time. Should definitely watch it. I can't even. The humor is so fucking stupid, but it's so funny. You got main character hero guy, right here, and you got Sasuke Cloud Strife in the back. He's raw. He's raw as hell. This girl's really hot. That's really all you need to know. The show is fucking hilarious. Watch it. I would recommend watching it in a group, probably, because it would be even better like that. But, you know, up to you. No Game of Life. I actually am considering moving this up to a 9. I think I'm actually going to do it right now. The show is only 12 episodes, but goes so blazing fast and covers so many ideas and is so enjoyable to watch. I find myself rewatching the show all the fucking time because each of the battles is so interesting, and thematically, I love the idea of like how the main characters' thought processes work so much. Like the way that they see everything very logically and clear reasoning, risk-reward assessment, stuff like that. And then they're just so deeply upset that you can't apply that stuff in real life sometimes as much as you want. Like there's no open solutions kind of thing. I find it all so interesting and fun to watch, but also like relatable and kind of painful. The show looks so pretty, like bright colors, but really fantastic looking. Like, I don't know how you don't see this and you're like, whoa, this shit looks good. Pretty colors. Like pretty colors. It gets some shit for like stupid fan service. I've already said before that as long as it's not actively bad fan service, that I don't mind it. and I don't think it detracts from the points the show makes at all. A lot of the point of the show is that social norms are often very arbitrary and ridiculous, and that people who care too much about them are often lacking in critical thinking or just following the crowd kind of thing. So I think it kind of leads people off from it intentionally in a way like that, but I also wouldn't fault anybody for disliking the fan service. I mean, not everyone wants to see panty shots, but I don't mind it really. I like one scene that's really emblematic of that is like when they're playing the word game, and it's like he removes, like through the magic, he removes all the genitals in this game of all the female characters, and then he removes all their clothes, and it's like, oh, but they're naked, and it's like, actually there's no genitals on screen, so it's perfectly like healthy for kids and safe to be shown on TV and doesn't need censored. And it's like, that is a really stupid, like, it just shows you that the lines on what is acceptable and what is not is very arbitrary in some ways, and that you should think a little bit more critically about why we have to draw limits to where we have to draw them, and what the actual points that we should be upset with are. So I think it handles all that masterfully. I think this show is fantastic and amazing to watch. We got Parasite. I was talking about this today. This show is really hard for me to rate because I think like the first half of build-up is like not the kind of build-up I really enjoy and not crazy interesting in a lot of ways. Like I almost consider dropping this before like the turning point about halfway through. So I would consider like the first half of this like a light 6, but like the second half of this like a 9 or maybe a little bit better. Probably a 9. So I average this show about to an 8. Just if what you really enjoy is really deep character development and themes about society and like, are humans better than other types of animals, what makes us different, what values do we hold differently, where do our instincts come in to kind of ruin what regard we hold ourselves to, that kind of thing. If that kind of stuff interests you, which it doesn't crazy interest me inherently, and sometimes watching this I was like, oh yeah, actually humans are different because of X thing they just are probably choosing to avoid because it kind of ruins the whole, oh, but are we really right to like ourselves more than other animals or not kind of thing. But I think overall it handles that stuff very, very well. I was almost really upset with the ending, but because the main character has to make a decision at the very, very end. And at first it looks like he's going to make one decision, and I'm like, this is stupid. And then he goes back to actually make the decision I would have made for the exact same reason that I would make it for. And I was like, never mind, the show is fucking tight. The show gets it. Good show. If you can't stomach the first half, if you're not, like, if slow buildup is a really big turnoff for you, which, as you can see so far, it's not for me. In particular, this buildup is not as good as some of the other stuff I recommend. JoJo Part 3. I love fucking Part 3. The characters are good. Some of the fights suck, especially the first 25 episodes. Some of the fights really suck, and there's a lot of boring one-off episodes. But even then, there's so many bits of dialogue that are just like, fuck yeah, that shit is sick. Or, yeah, they're just on a fucking road trip, and I've hung out with my friends in a similar way to this before, and I get it. This is really what life is about kind of thing. There's so much shit like that I just love. Like, one of the scenes I always think of is Paul Nerf in whatever fucking, like Korea, one of the Korea, probably South Korea, maybe some other Asian place, and it's like, he sets his bag down for a second, and a cop comes up and he's like, oh, you're littering. You know that we got a huge fucking fine for that because we actually care about our country, and you're being a massive fucking tool, you stupid foreigner. And he's like, oh, trash? Actually, that's my fucking luggage, you asshole. My bag just looks stupid, I guess. Thanks. And tells him off. And it's like, that shit is so fucking fun and interesting. And it's stuff like that Rocky gives you that you wouldn't see anywhere else, I think. So, it's fantastic. But definitely the first half, I might recommend watching on like 1.5 times speed or something for some of the more boring episodes. This show, like, definitely the first half should have been like half the episodes, maybe. Like, they really should have trimmed the fat on this. Not the best adaptation, but overall, like, it's hard for me to say that because a lot of stuff where it's like, oh yeah, the sun stand fight, which I think was literally one chapter in the manga, they made it a whole ass episode, and I'm like, God, yeah, the pacing is just so bad. But then I watched the episode, I'm like, God, that episode fucking rocks. Like, the way they just all break down in hysterics, and it's like, oh no, the guy's gonna win. They're all going crazy from dehydration. And it's like, no, actually, they're not going crazy. They just think this shit is really funny because of how stupid it is. Like, that shit I wouldn't trade for the fucking world. But you could probably convey that kind of stuff in a manner that doesn't take a whole ass episode. But I do like watching Joseph ride a camel. It is funny. It's conveyed very funny. I've seen so many Arabic movies. You don't understand. I know how to ride a camel. Like, that shit is mad funny. Grisaya. This show is really hard to justify being as high as it is on my list, but I find something about the main character so interesting, and the maturity that this show contains is just so interesting to me in a way I really couldn't explain with words. I'll probably eventually make a video on it, but this show is just really enjoyable to watch, and I really care about the main character a lot. So, would I recommend it? Yes, but I think most people wouldn't like it as much as I do. One Punch Man. On a rewatch, this is probably, in fact, I kind of want to give this a 7. Yeah, this is more 7 in my book. I think the middle area is really where the show is the strongest, with like the Sea King stuff. All that theming is so good. That fucking stretch of episodes makes me fucking bawl my eyes out. Swear to God, I love Moomin Rider. But also just the ideas of Saitama mentally being so strong, his struggle relating to the author's struggle, and like people telling him to quit, that kind of stuff. Topics of depression and not being good enough or being too good kind of thing. All that shit is so expertly covered and covered in a way that's not really covered in other stuff. But sometimes I definitely feel like it drags a little bit, or there's a stretch of episodes that I'm just like, how could I possibly fucking care about this? Like, the last arc, the last fight looks really cool. I do kind of like a lot of the ragtag hero characters, and their fights are a little bit interesting, but it's also like, this is not what I signed up for. I can't possibly be bothered to care about what guy dies to the alien invasion that happens only in these 3 episodes and was not foreshadowed and is not thematically interesting. That kind of stuff, so yeah. Sakamoto desu ka is fucking amazing. I love this show so much. This show is, it's hilarious. It's short. Watch it. He's cool. The gimmick, people are like, oh, it's the same joke over and over. But it's like, the joke of him being cool isn't, oh, wow, he's going to be cool. Wow, who would have guessed? It's like, how the fuck is he going to manage to pull this shit off to be cool? In what way? And it's always funny every time. Watching him play fucking Hungry Hungry Hippos is the funniest shit I've ever seen in my entire life. Watching him perform a German opera at a, like, bar, like, with college students, and having all the women swoon over him is the funniest shit. Like, there's just all these crazy ideas, and what really ties it all together is that it's all around the idea of Sakamoto is so great that everyone is jealous of him, and we should all try to strive to be more like him. Everyone has to come to terms with that they're not as good as him, but that they should be working towards being as good as him. They have to overcome their jealousy, they have to overcome their flaws, and they have to try to get to that next level. And it's so fantastic. There's a lot of heart in this show, surprisingly, for how goofy it is. I'd recommend this to anybody. It's fucking amazing. There's like one episode, like, I don't really like the episode with the fat kid's mom. I don't like that episode really at all. But other than that, the show's fucking amazing. Kobayashi, this show is just so much fun to watch. I like the whole cast. Particularly like the dragon guy who gets into fucking RPGs. Who is this guy? Fafnir? Yeah, Fafnir. I fucking love him. His design is so rad. And he is the coolest dude. This show is just really fun to watch. Really not much more needs to be said. Psyche Kusuo. God, it's been a while since I watched a show. Short episodes. Funny show. About a psychic. And he can read minds. And so he has to, like, come to terms with trying to build relationships when he can see all the ulterior motives of the stupid people around him. It's a good fucking time. I definitely recommend it. Kobayashi OVA. JoJo Part 5. I think this show is the strongest looking of all the JoJo anime adaptations, but it just felt a little bit off to me. And I think it was probably because it was the first part that I read rather than watched first. I think overall it was a really good adaptation. Just Part 5 is a little bit worse than Part 4. I mean, it's more of the greatness, so yeah. Dr. Stone, I struggle with this one being like an 8 or a 7. The anime adaptation kind of slogs a little bit, but I think thematically it's so strong that it just works anyways. I really like how the show looks too, so I don't know. Science is rad, and all the stuff about the main character and his dad and what happens to them is so fucking interesting and heart-wrenching that I bawl every time I watch it. Yeah, the show is fantastic, but it does slog a lot in some parts to where I don't know how wholeheartedly I could really recommend it. I would recommend reading the manga probably. Talentless Nana, this show aired recently. I won't spoil the gimmick. I liked it a lot. I liked it a lot more than I probably should or really thought I would, because it's kind of gimmicky and like the production value is not that high, but I think it's great nonetheless. If you like Death Note, I think this show has a lot of the same appeal and is worth it. So now we get into sevens. This is stuff I have some pretty strong issues with, but still like a lot. I haven't finished watching Now and Then Here and There. It's been a couple years since I've watched any of it. The show's so fucking sad. Holy shit. People talk about ReZero as like, oh, it's an isekai, but nothing goes right for him. If you want an isekai where nothing fucking goes right, and it's tragic as hell, this show. This show's from 1999, dude. This show is old. This show is fucking sad, though. It's kind of a war story, basically. But, like, not a war story where it's like, oh, there's two sides, and both the sides are kind of whatever. It's like a war story like everyone's fighting, everyone dies, and no one wants to be there. It's fantastic, but it does have some issues. It's a little bit slow. Thematically, there's not always the most there, and like it's hard to get invested in the characters necessarily outside of what they represent, maybe. But if you care about military stuff at all, I would watch the show, and it will make you cry, or at least feel very bad about yourself and life. Haruhi Suzumiya, I'm not gonna lie, I really need to watch the show. I liked what I watched, but just like watch orders are confusing. Not even that. Okay, I know I want to watch the airing order, but I was watching it on a random site, and I was like, well, I'll just watch it in the airing order. But the site I was watching it on, I only realized like 6 episodes in, was not in the airing order. It was listed in its own personal order for what they thought you should watch it in. And I was like, oh my god, why the fuck would you do this? So I just got frustrated and just stopped watching it for now. I'll pick it back up eventually. I liked what I saw of it. It's very interesting. I don't really have much to say about it though, because it's been so long and I didn't finish it. Soul Eater, good show. Shonen fight, but cool powers and cool characters, and there's honestly a lot of thematic depth. I think Black Star and Death Kid are very interesting characters, especially Black Star in some of the middle episodes where he kind of goes through a phase. That shit is, oh man, when Black Star and Death Kid like duke it out, that shit, I fucking love that episode. That episode hurts in a lot of ways, but it's really good. Overall, the show is like, it's probably not going to blow your mind, but it looks pretty good, and it's pretty fun usually. There's some stupid fan service, and it's not very good fan service, but, you know, I think it's very good overall, but I wouldn't really super recommend it unless you were already predisposed to watching it. Clannad After Story, better than regular Clannad. This is season 2. It's really emotional, and I think it does earn some of it, but also some of it is, I'm gonna put on the big sad music, you better fucking cry. So, I don't know. But there's some cool shit in here, like the big ass fight scene that happens between the two, like, rival gangs or whatever kind of thing. That shit is the coolest fucking shit ever. I don't really remember a ton about this show anymore other than the big moments, because it's been so long since I've watched it. Like, definitely like 5 years, at least. But overall, pretty good, especially if you're into romance. Toradora, I don't know why I didn't finish the show yet. I'll finish it eventually. I like the show. Characters are pretty good. There's not a lot to say other than that. This one's kind of a loaded topic. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. So I watched the 2003 version actually first, like when I was really getting into anime, like 2013, 2014-ish. Because I hadn't, like, I'd heard about it that I needed to watch it, but I was too lazy at the time to, like, look up which version to watch on Netflix, because I was just watching shit on Netflix or whatever. And I was like, well, the older one's probably better, so I'll just watch the older one. The older one looks better in a lot of ways. Like, I like the aesthetic a bit more because it's a little bit grungier, and, like, the directing in the 2003 version is definitely stronger, but, like, this show is way more polished and, like, actually fucking ends properly, whereas the ending of 2003 is, like, asinine insanity, and then it's, like, to be continued type shit, and it's like, wow, that was cryptic as hell. But I don't know, I think this show is pretty good, but there's definitely long stretches of episodes where the writing is just the blandest, most boring shit, and it's like, yep, sure, setting up stuff. And there's sometimes where there's like 3 episodes where it's like, wow, the writing is so tight in these episodes, like the stretch of 3 episodes, I'm on the edge of my seat. And it's not because, like, the bad episodes are, like, building up to the good episodes. It's more like sometimes it felt like it was just competently written and tight and narratively interesting, and sometimes they just turned it off like that. Like, it wasn't even an issue of build-up. It was just an issue of writing quality. I think this show could have been, like, 40 episodes if they just tightened this shit up a little bit. Overall, quite good. Very satisfying ending, right? Has a lot of good action sequences that look really amazing. Colonel Mustang is an amazing character. I love a lot of stuff about him, but they also kind of flub his, like, some of his last bits, like, okay, spoilers, the stuff with Envy towards the end where it's like, he's taking it all out on Envy because fuck Envy, right? And it's like, wow, that's really sad. And yeah, I get where he's coming from. But then the show's like, no, dude, you won't be any better than them if you take out your revenge like that. We have to come to an understanding. And it's like the most cringe, like, revenge is bad for you because I said so. They did not do that plotline justice at all. I felt like I was very disappointed in that. It's kind of like moral grandstanding just for the sake of itself. I did not like that part very much. But spoilers being over, overall, very good show. K-On!, really good, really cute, really fun to watch. Kind of like Lucky Star, where it's just like easy to watch. They're having a good time. Sedokai no Ichizan, pretty fun. I don't know if I would really recommend the show. I might even move it lower on a full rewatch, but pretty funny. Also pretty raunchy, pretty stupid, but pretty funny. There's some gags from this that just stick with me so well. Angel Beats, one of the first things I watched, and I liked it a lot. I still like it quite a bit. It looks good, it sounds good. Unique premise. Probably a little bit too fast for its own good, but I don't know, fuck you. I don't mind when endings are super content dense and kind of rushed like that, because to me, I can imagine a lot of the circumstances and introducing the new ideas is more important than completely giving them time to prosper sometimes. So I give a lot of credit for that. And some of the early episodes are just so easy and fun to watch that this show, I can probably rate it any lower than this. Sedokai Yakuin Domo. Kind of like this one. It's pretty... Like, this is a comedy show, and the gimmick is, haha, the girls say raunchy things, but it's like... like, most of the jokes are not very funny, but the whole show is just so comfy and easy to watch that I had a blast anyways. So, I don't know. It's kind of hard to describe and kind of hard to see the appeal, but I had a good time regardless. Denpa Onna, the show is weird. I don't know, the opening's fucking sick, I'll tell you that. It's been a long-ass time since I watched this, and I don't remember a ton about it, but also similarly comfy but interesting, and I like the ending a lot. I don't have a ton of thoughts on it. Madoka Magica, good. I mean, hey, everybody knows what it's about. More of that. Wolf Children, really good, but it's just like not about stuff I care about. Like, I don't really care about raising children that deeply or feel the same way about it. So, yeah. But I mean, it's a fantastic watch regardless. Binbogami Ga, fun show. I hate the Lucky Girl still though, but she's a good character. She's mean. I would bash her head in with a shovel, and in the hopes that she would be better as a person afterwards. Sakuraza, been a long time. I just liked the show when I watched it. I mean, it's comfy and like endearing. I like the characters. It might be worse on a rewatch. Ixion Saga DT, God, I need to fucking actually finish this show because it's like funny, but it's like, well, let me look up the year. Really, this is 2012. This show looks like it's old as fuck, which is not really a flattering thing to say. Like, the character designs are not, like, they're very dated, but I still think the show is interesting. It's a comedy show, and there's some bits in it where it's like, this bit changed my fucking life with how funny and innovative this shit is. And then there's like 2 episodes, there'll just be a stretch of 2 episodes where I'm just like, why is this here? I am going to do something else now. Goodbye. So it's kind of hard to recommend, but I'll watch it, finish it one day. It's a fun show though. I would watch the first episode at least. Please watch the first episode. It's so funny. Oh, and also the opening is godlike. I love the opening. I memorized that shit. It's godlike. Grisaya, first season's probably the worst season, but I really like some of the arcs. Like, I really like, what's her name? Irisu Makina's arc. That's probably my favorite part of it. I rewatch that shit a lot. Good overall still. Kill la Kill. I don't know. It doesn't really appeal to me crazily. It's been a long time since I watched it still, but it does a lot wrong. Does a lot well. Hard to recommend. Pretty much everything that could be said about it has been said already, so like my view of the show is somewhere between digis and demos, right, where I'm like, I kind of agree with both of them in some ways. Part 3, the first half is way weaker than the second half, but really good still. Gakko Garashi, I fucking love zombie shows, good slice of life. Some episodes were kind of boring, and then some of it was like, God, this show is just fucking a masterpiece, what the hell. The premise is just fantastic. I guess that's spoilers. Nobody's gonna watch a show if you don't tell them it's a zombie show, though. Like, well, watch it. It's a good time. It might lose some people partway through, though. Shimonetta, which is a world where dirty jokes don't exist. Good commentary on sexuality and stuff like that. It's not the, like, that kind of theming is not the closest to my heart, but it's a good show. Prison School, this show is fucking funny and stupid, but like sometimes a little bit too horny, but it's still a good ass time. Like, impossible to recommend because it's nasty as hell, but it's fucking funny. Gakuto is raw as hell. I literally watched 2 episodes of this. Like, this is the 3rd season, I think. I watched 2 episodes of this with a friend because we just hit like random select on an anime site. It was funny. I don't know. Watch it maybe. Konosuba, good show. Has a lot of really good ideas, but God, it lost steam very quickly for me. Where I was like, wow, all these characters act the exact same in every situation, and I could write these scenarios in my head, and not watch a 24-minute episode about it. Like, it gets stale after a little bit. That being said, it's only 10 episodes. I didn't make it through the second season just because I was watching it while it aired, and kind of all that stuff kind of started boiling to the surface where I was like, okay, no more. I get the appeal of this fucking show. Mayoiga. I wrote a video on the first episode of this. The show's crazy. It's a pretty fun ride. The ending is like probably too serious, but the show is fucking crazy. I love it. There's so much intentionally bad directing that is so fucking funny to me. Like the amount the show goes out of the way to do stupid shit that is funny is like so good. Like there's a scene where it's like these characters are taking this shit really seriously and they're having a discussion about like what do they do so they do not die, and this guy is like taking charge and he's talking in the middle of the room, and they just have a fucking wooden pole like that's supporting a support beam for the building, just covering his fucking like most of his body. Like the shot is just he is in the middle, but it is just blocking him. Just like, haha, don't take this shit too seriously, dumbass. Like this show's a fucking joke, and it's like that is the funniest fucking shot in the world to me, and it's absolutely intentional. If you watch the first episode of the show, you can fucking tell. The show gets way too much shit. I think the score is pretty ass on the show. I give it a 7. I think that's a good score for it. People got the shit low. Below people inflate their scores on my anime list also. Like I would consider a 7 on this website what I consider a 5 roughly equal to. So this score is ouchies. People are mean. Good show. I would recommend it a lot. At least the first episode. The first episode's funny. Watch my video on it. It's a good video. It's a good show. King's Avatar. This is a Chinese show. Chinese quote-unquote anime about like esports gaming, but like it's an MMO RPG PvP kind of context. It's sick. The show looks fantastic, and I really like a lot of the characters. Like he befriends a new player who is like a street thug who got into the game kind of thing, like a street thug delinquent guy who got into the game, and so because that he really has an eye for combat tactics and like when to retreat, when to press kind of things, which I think absolutely transfers over. Like I'll always talk about fighting games where in fighting games a lot of those concepts apply to actual martial arts because a lot of the strategies for like neutral play is very similar, like risk assessment and committing in ways that don't leave you open but leave you for opportunities if successful. Like the concept of poking in a Street Fighter game or using low committal pokes in an anime fighter is the same as like throwing a jab in boxing. Like it's all the same shit. Like even boxing has fucking hit confirms, like in fighting games where boxing, I hit the jab, I throw another jab, and if both the jabs hit, I realize, oh shit, this shit hit. I'm gonna go with my hard punch that I would lose balance if I just went for it too early, not knowing if it would hit. But since I confirmed the hit and know I'm going to hit, I throw my hard punch and it hits. Like so much shit transfers over. But so I completely buy into that concept. This guy, like his street smarts kind of getting him into a tactical edge. The show's quite good. I need to watch the second season. I had a good time. Inuyashiki, weird fucking show. Really fun though. I kind of binged it in like a day or two. It kind of looks bad. Like CG robot stuff, not the most visually appealing, but thematically, I found it so interesting. Even though it's kind of like, would you save people or would you kill a bunch of people? And it's like, the kind of mindsets that would come from that, though, that would like realistically lead you to those paths, quite interesting. I find it so hilarious that a kid raised on One Piece could be so detached emotionally, where he could care about One Piece characters but not the kid he just shot. Like it's pretty interesting. Made in Abyss. I watched the first 2 episodes when the show aired. I need to finish it. I liked it. I don't know enough about it. Attack on Titan. I'm gonna make a video about the show, but I think season 3 is really the first season where it's like worth watching. Maybe. I don't like the show as much as a lot of other people, but I still do think this series is pretty good overall. Bunny Girl Senpai. 7 might be pretty generous. I feel like this falls into a lot of the light novel trappings and not favorably. Like, I kind of want to give this a 6. Like, this is like a 6.5. I'm gonna rate that actually. Because like some of the dialogue and light novel tropes and like, oh, it's like science thing that vaguely relates. Like, oh, you've heard of Schrodinger's cat, right? Well, in Schrodinger's cat, it's a thought experiment. It's like, oh my god, shut the fuck up. Everyone knows. Stop. I get it. You're a light novel, but I still found it pretty entertaining altogether, and it didn't take itself too seriously. I had a good time with it. Movie made me sad. Movie forces you to be sad. That's the whole point of it. Simon and Saga. This show was like, first 2 episodes like, whoa, this shit is fucking fantastic. This is the best show of the fucking year. This is the best show of the season. This is the best show I've ever seen. And it's like, next 3 episodes like, oh my god, I hate idols. Why do idols exist? God, these CG dances look abysmal. Kind of. Maybe. I kind of get the appeal. Okay, that's not bad. But then it's like, it's just up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down. I thought the ending stuff was pretty good, but kind of melodramatic and kind of took a little bit too long. Overall, good experience. Watch the first 2 episodes at least. Jesus Christ, watch the first 2 episodes. Snafu stuff. Yukoku no Moriarty. Kind of a dumb show, but fun for similar reasons that Death Note is fun and interesting. Like, haha, mind games, I'm a smart man. It's always fun. Consistently, I had a good time with it, though. There was like 1 or 2 episodes where I was like, wow, this was a little bit stupid. Like, the one where he kills the guy with the tangerines or the oranges or whatever, that shit I was like, bruh, like, and how did they get away with it? Like, what's the setup? I don't know. Some shit just didn't hit quite right, but overall, very good. I'm gonna crank it up to super speed mode now because this video is way too fucking long. But Naruto, honestly, first series pretty good. There's a lot of really high points, a lot of low points, a lot of too fucking slow points, but fun overall. Looks pretty good, honestly. School Rumble, fun. I'll probably watch more of it later, but not super my sense of humor. I really like the designs though. Yu-Gi-Oh, yeah. History's Strongest Disciple, one of the first things I watched. Kind of really bad fan service, kind of fun show though still. I like the martial arts. I read most of the manga. I probably should finish reading the manga. I'm like 400 chapters deep and there's only like 500 something. So, but the martial arts in the show is really fun and interesting. Clannad, harder to watch than the second season probably. A lot of arcs that you can't really care very much about, but a lot of arcs that are also like, oh man, this shit's real good. Yeah. Kirby, he's the name you should know. I don't remember. I think I watched this for like a Brave Frontier collab or some shit. All I remember was it was funny. Like this had to be like fucking 8 years ago. I don't know. Unless I'm thinking of the completely wrong show. This could just be the wrong show. Whatever. Bakemonogatari. I should probably explain this one a little bit. This to me felt like Snafu, but trying harder and somehow making less of a point with it, if that makes sense. The dialogue in this show, I felt like very often nothing was being communicated, and it was more like crazy cool points rather than any actual substance. I do like some arcs of this, like I like the Renai Circulation Girl arc, and I do like the main girl overall, but like it's also kind of hard to care about her first arc very much. I really hate Kambaru. I feel like she didn't get enough shit for how bad of a person she was. Like, she was a complete fucking tool. And just like, it's like, don't worry, I know you've been hard on yourself. Like, we understand. It's like, no, be harder on her. What? Insane. But whatever. I'm of my own volition, I'm probably not going to watch more seasons of this show. I did not like it that much. Like, this is like straddling the line for a 6 for me, if I have to be completely honest. Kore wa Zombie desu ka? Old show I watched when I just watched anything. Pretty fun, goofy comedy show. It takes itself a lot too seriously in the beginning and ending episodes, but overall, pretty fun ride. Some really stupid episodes, but you know. Yosuke no Sora, really funny to watch in a Skype call. Really funny. I don't know what. You could play the opening of this show. You could, like, play me clips of this, and I would be like, wait, that's what that character sounds like? Because I watched this in a Skype call with no audio. That being said, it's just like a really trashy VN, like, porn thing. It's really funny, though. It's really funny, but, like, for the wrong reasons. Yeah. If you want to watch a show where the final arc is the dude banging his sister, it's pretty funny. It's really funny, in fact. But, you know. Like, I struggle, like, where to rate this. Because, like, in terms of, like, the quality of writing, it is very low. But also, how much fun did I have with it? Like, did it justify its own existence? Almost certainly. Almost certainly. I would give it a 6. Kore wa Zombie desu ka? Take itself too seriously, but it's a little bit more funny than the first season. Kokoro Connect. Too much melodrama, but pretty fun and, like, interesting overall. I don't remember a lot about this show. Most people just remember this show for the part where the girl's like, haha, I masturbate to you too. And it's like, whoa, quirky, relatable. Wow, this show is really popular, actually. I don't know. Like, I like the character designs, but, like, this girl is insufferable. This girl is a little bit insufferable. This guy is not a character. Yeah, I don't know. Zetsu no Tempest. God, I need to I'll make a video on this show probably eventually, because there's a lot of good things I could say about this show. There's a lot of bad things I could say about the show, but I don't know. It's very interesting, but it's also kind of a slog. You could give this show any fucking score, and I would probably be like, yeah, no, I get that. Like, if you gave this a 3, I would be like, yeah, some of the theming is really bullshit and cringy, or, like, it takes way too fucking long, or maybe it looks ugly sometimes. But then, if you give it a 9 also, I would be like, no, I get that. Like, some of the theming is really fucking interesting. I love the focus on logic of the main characters and how they just have fucking battles with a lot of characters where it's like, we're just thinking about things and solving what is happening. Like, me and the bad guy talking it out, like, as a Fallout fucking final boss where you talk with the man in the room for an hour. That shit is fucking hype. And the show, honestly, overall looks really good, although it's a little bit of an older show, so it's got, like, that cel-shaded feel that some people might not be a fan of, but I personally think looks very nice. It's, like, right on the cusp of that era, actually. Give me an idea of what it looks like. Maybe? Yeah, like this character design. This fucking... You can see how fucking seriously this shit takes itself from this trailer, even. Yeah. I don't know. Weird show. Problem Children are coming from another world, aren't they? This was also a show I watched very early on. Pretty goofy and fun, but, like I say here, entertaining. Main character guy is a Mary Sue. Like, he just beats the shit out of anybody he has ever fought in his entire life. But, like, that's not really the point of the show being, like, hard battles anyways. It's more about mystery solving and, like, understanding the world. Like I say, it might be an issue that he's a Mary Sue if you're under the pretense of this being a show about hard to win fights instead of fun, interesting world building. Knights of Sidonia. This is a weird fucking show. I'm not convinced that this isn't a fever dream I had. But it was really interesting to me in some ways, but also it kind of looks ugly. And by kind of looks ugly, I mean looks hideous, but also it grows on you a lot. Like, how do I gotta show you this shit. Yeah. Like, what the fuck is that? It's like all CG type stuff. But some of the consistency of it eventually gets to you too. Where like, yeah, this is just the world they live in, bro. That's crazy. It's got a lot of the same appeal of Attack on Titan, where it's like humanity overcome with a humanity-ending threat, and they gotta fight it. But the second season has some like darker, crazier stuff. I don't know. Shit's really interesting overall, I would say. But I could definitely be convinced it was a fever dream for sure. I like it overall. Coming a Kill. I actually watched this and then reread it recently. The manga's better than the anime because the anime caught up to the manga while it was airing, and they did their own anime original like last 8 or so episodes, and they kind of botched it. But other than that, like I expected the show to be more boring on a rewatch, but they actually kind of go at a really fast pace, and most of the fights are entertaining. They don't look incredible, but they look pretty good, and conceptually it's pretty good. It shows really black and white, where it's like, yes, politician in power enslaves and rapes women and kills kids and eats babies, like that kind of shit. But it's still a good time. I would recommend reading it rather than watching it, though. I was kind of surprised with how slower the manga was, actually, though. I don't know if I'm just a slow reader, but it felt like it took a while reading it. Tokyo Ghoul, I don't know, pretty good. It's been a long time since I watched it. Kind of edgy, kind of cringy, but still pretty good. Probably better read. Knights of Sidonia again, yeah. God Eater, kind of the same shit of Knights of Sidonia. Like, kind of exactly the same exact review I would give, where it's like, show is like kind of ugly CG, but also kind of cool and unique and interesting. I don't, like, even conceptually, it's like humanity faced with world-ending monster threat thing. It's like the same kind of shit. I don't know. Like, I hear the games are good. Play the game, maybe? I don't know. Shokugeki no Soma, the first season is probably the best. It's like fine. I don't know. It's entertaining. I like food. I like watching cook food. I don't like watching not cook food. Why it takes so long? Yeah. Death Parade. Honestly, the show looks fantastic, and conceptually has some cool ass stretches of episodes, but they really botched some of the fucking games and arcs of this shit, where it's just like some people just get the shittiest treatment, and I was like, what? How could you do this to them? Wow, fuck you guys. I don't think this show is super worth watching, but it is pretty interesting. Monogatari. I forgot to finish the show. It's kind of boring, but comfy romance. That was fun. Roku no Yusha. Oh god, I watched this shit when it aired. How long ago was this shit? Probably 2015, 2014? 2015, yep. The concept of the show is every whatever lot of years, 6 heroes are revived. 6 heroes are chosen by fate or whatever to fight the demon lord who revives. Gotta kill him. Not demon lord, demon god. Sorry. And so that happens again, and it's like, whoa, main character and other princess girl that he likes have to go fight demon god with the group of 6 heroes. But then they show up and there's 7 heroes and not 6, but there's definitely supposed to only be 6. So there's a traitor among us. So yeah, they have to figure out who is the traitor and trying to kill them all, most likely. It's a lot of bullshit, wordplay, semantics, logic, crazy, stupid walking back and forth off of no information, but you know, it's a fun ride. I even read some of the light novel. Poor Hans in the light novel. Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't probably recommend it, but maybe if you're like, that concept interests you, like, just fucking do it. It's only 12 episodes. Charlotte, kind of the same thing as Angel Beats, but like a little bit harder to watch overall because the pacing is a little bit worse and it doesn't have as many ideas. But like the ending, I found the ending shit so interesting, even though it was quite rushed. Highly recommend those last episodes. Not any other parts of it though. Conceptually, it's neat. I don't know. It's such a mediocre show overall. Overlord. I just rewatched parts of this season recently. I like some stuff about it. I don't like a lot of stuff about it. Mostly it's kind of cringy, and I don't really like the main character very much. But I do like some bits about him coping with like losing his relationships with his friends. But the world is also pretty interesting. But I don't know, a lot of the characters just suck, and in later seasons it definitely becomes a problem where it's like, wow, this show is not tonally consistent, and I hate all the characters involved, and they just act in ways that I wish they would be dead instead. Um, I would still say it's worth watching the first and second seasons of the show. A little bit less of the second season. Like, this is probably actually a 5, I would say. But like 5.5. Like, this is right on the border of like watchable. I think. Yeah, I don't know. Weird show. I wouldn't really recommend it. Classroom Crisis. I don't even fucking remember this shit. Politic, like, talking about big smart stuff. 2015. That year's a blur to me. Sequel. I didn't know this was a sequel until I was 10 episodes deep. I liked it though. It was cool. Erased. It's so fine. It's so okay. I don't know. Whoa, my deep symbolism. Whoa, my deep theming. That doesn't actually say anything interesting, I think. Final reveal is bad and dumb. I think everyone agrees on that. It ends nicely, I guess. Some of the stuff is really cool. Most of the stuff is like not. I don't know. Your Name. The story and characters, I'm just like, yeah, sure, okay. It looks amazing though, and it sounds amazing. Worth watching for that probably. Shokeki no Soma. I don't know. This is like a 5. I dropped it, so like this can't be a fucking 6. It's so okay. You Were Nice. I don't remember much about it. It looked pretty good. Maybe I'll watch it. It just doesn't interest me really. Interviews with Monster Girls. I don't know. It was pretty fun, but I also just lost interest pretty quickly. Megalobox. Whoa, Ashino Joe, but bad. Whoa, why do I have it as 6? It's like a 5. Ashino Joe, but with no thematic depth. Ashino Joe, but with like no character building. Ashino Joe, but like with nothing to say. That being said, Ashino Joe with nothing to say is still pretty sick looking. And I like fights. You know, like they hit some arcs, and some of the arcs are fine, but it's like overall, whatever. Grand Blue. I'm either like, haha, that bit was good, or I'm like watching half episode where I'm like stone faced looking at my fucking screen like, yeah, when's it gonna be funny? Sure, okay. I don't know. It's fine. Goblin Slayer. I like the main character a lot. It's kind of like Best Guy Ever's video is pretty good on it, but I think more than that, I think the main character is kind of like a substitute for like, what's the word? Issues in communication due to, I don't know, in his case it's trauma, but in a lot of other people it's just like poor social skills. I would be lying if I didn't see myself in the main character in the way that like responding to so many things with, I see, I see, that kind of thing is like, that's something I do way too much, and I had to like train myself not to do. So when I see the main character doing it just because he doesn't really understand the flow of conversation or how he should be communicating, I'm like, whoa, that's like the most accurate portrayal I've ever seen. It's kind of edgy, kind of cringy, kind of looks ugly, but kind of looks good sometimes. I don't know. Probably should read it and not watch it. What the fuck is the actual name of the show? Heroes Overpowered. Cautious Hero. Yeah, there we go. This is like really trashy, but like overall kind of fun. I don't know. The ending is too serious, but other than that, it's kind of enjoyable to watch. I don't know. This is like right on the border of watchable. Jujutsu Kaisen, pretty fun. Looks really good. The first half of it was a lot weaker. There was a lot of points where I was like falling asleep at my keyboard, but it looks good. Overall, I like the characters. Got a High School, kind of the same deal, but some of the fights look bad, where it'll do like big still frame fighting another still frame. whoa, eventually they will collide. And then a lot of fights are also like, holy shit, he's fucking moving. He's moving. Am I watching real life? Holy shit. It looks good. It's a fun time overall. Oh, yes, we're finally at bad shows. Okay, turbo mode. Zero Nusukaiba. I hate her. I hate her. I hate her. Die. 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 Oh, I brought this in a new link. Whoops. Bad show. Old show. Bad show. If I could remove any memory of the show, I would. Why do I have this as a... Actually, I do like some stuff about it, but... I'm not going to change my scores for stuff this low, because I'll just fucking underrate everything. Dumb show. I wouldn't watch it if I wasn't 12. The main girl is insufferable. I wish I had a shovel to beat her to death with. Yeah. Also, Nuichi, I clicked random show on animeseasons.net and give me this show, and I watched it, and I was like, whoa, big boob, lick, fight, sword. Being 12 is an experience. It's not gonna load. Cool. I don't know, not worth watching probably, but kind of fun. Beyblade, I used to watch shit before school every fucking day, eating cereal. This shit's raw, but very boring at the same time if I were to watch it now. To Love You, that's not on my list here. Question mark? Question mark? No, you didn't see that. Being 12 is a drug. High School of the Dead OVA, really the worst part of the High School of the Dead. It's very cringe for the most part. There's some good bits, but most of it is just like shitty baiting. Mari Nikki, unlikable cast of dumb fucks with a pretty entertaining premise and widely varying quality of execution. Little Kid was the greatest and you would not convince me otherwise. That sums up my thoughts. The show is quite bad in terms of writing, but there's some stuff to like. High School DxD is dumb. What do you expect? This show, there's like one or two, it translates to like, so they can't watch H. Cringe. Or play H, yeah. Character designs I kind of like a lot, actually, but it's cringe, fan service vehicle, but I also really like some scenes of it. There's a scene where he gets cold feet, like, trying to beat the final big bad guy, and he kind of comes to the conclusion that he can live the rest of his life comfortably and not risk having to die, knowing that he actually almost just died. And just his mental state there, that whole shit is just really interesting. Other than that, this show's like throwaway. Hashtag 420. Cool. To Love Your Darkness. My favorite season of To Love You, but To Love You's bad. So, Batum. I read the fucking manga for this shit. I was caught up like 2 different times. God, being 14 is dumb. The premise is kind of cool. It's like the video game where they throw bombs and kill each other on an island because people ship them off. It's pretty boring. Other than that, not worth watching. Show kind of sucks, but it has some good stuff, but it has some really bad stuff. Noikome, fun show, but also pretty bad overall. Like, there's some scenes where I'm like, whoa, that shit is fucking hilarious. The opening scene where it presents everything as like a series of 50-50 choices is fucking amazing. But then, like, the characters look disgusting. I wish they didn't look the way they looked. Let me play this shit. There's some good bits in this show, I can't lie. The show doesn't look as bad as I remember, honestly. This creature, I hate that creature. Why is her face like that? And she's not even the worst looking of the main characters. The worst looking of the main characters is yeah, that one. She looks horrible. Why was she allowed to exist? Cool. Alright, anyways. Hitsuge no Chaika. It's like, it's fine. I have the second season lower because the ending is really bad. I feel so bad for whoever wrote that. Dorara X2. I watched this like 4 years ago, and I only watched the first 2 episodes because I hated Isaya's sister so much that I was like, is this like a haha, look, more characters that you like kind of thing? Question mark? Probably not, but it's probably good overall. The intro really turned me off, but I don't know, I'll rewatch it eventually. I only watched 2 episodes, right? Bad. The worst season of Attack on Titan, season 2, because it's just like one-sided conversations with no stakes and nobody knows what's happening, so they're just screaming into the void. Whoa, of course I want to watch 12 fucking episodes. Or I know Seraph. I like it aesthetically. The backgrounds are really good, and I like the character design and color design. Yup. Vampires are kind of cool. That's about it. ReZero. Some good concepts and themes, but ultimately a horrendously boring show with unlikable characters that take itself too seriously and acts as if stakes are incredibly high when they aren't. I did not like a lot of development, but I appreciate what it was kind of covering with like themes of like White Knight. I was never a White Knight, and I will never be a White Knight, so I don't have any particular stake in this narrative. People talk about the world building. I didn't think the world building was anything special, but sure. I'm going to rewatch all of it when season 2 and stuff like that finishes, probably. So my opinion will probably drastically change on this upon rewatch. That wasn't like when it aired. I didn't even finish it when it aired. Keijo, I like butt. Nekopara. they kickstarted campaigned the OVA of this fucking VN Catgirl thing. They made $1 million on Kickstarter. How did they do that? What? And they made this OVA. I watched 1 episode of it in a call with some friends. It was not good, but it was really fucking funny. Cause like, like the Catgirls have to like train to get a license. Like they have human level intelligence, and from what I can tell, human lifespans, vaguely. Like they have actual intelligence. They can speak properly and like think shit through. They just like have some animal instincts where they're like, haha, cat. I am cat. Want go eat bird. Whoa, it's so dumb. But like they don't have any human rights. Like they have to like train and take a test and pass a test to get a license to be allowed in public without their like master. Like it's like Catgirl Detroit Become Human. It's the funniest shit that's ever existed in any timeline. It's Catgirl Detroit Become Human. No way. Okay. Shield Hero. This just like barely justifies its own existence. It's kind of fun. It's kind of interesting. It's kind of fucking slow. It's kind of fucking cringe. There you go. It's kind of nice though. I don't know. Overall, I was like, yeah, okay, I'll let you survive. Hinamatsuri, I didn't really find it funny. I don't know. It was so like almost funny that it just wasn't. Elfin Lead, bad. Really stupid. There's one side plot with the guy who's the doctor guy, and he has to kill all the demon kids when they're born. It's like, oh, so sad. But then it's his own daughter. He's like, oh, well, my own daughter is special, and then she just murders a bunch of people. It's like, okay, I understand now. I have to fucking kill her. I like that part. Everything else is cringe. The opening is baller as fuck, though. That shit slaps. Zero no Tsukaima, I would kill her with a shovel. Her head would be on the floor. Kill Me Baby, I did not find it funny. It's kind of funny being deadpan, though. I don't know. Maybe I'd like it more in rewatch. High School DxD, I don't know what you're talking about. Black Bullet, I liked a couple things. The ending of the first season is like fucking sick. Like that shit's like, whoa, what the hell? And I just never did anything with it because it's the ending of the first season of a light novel. Like, of course there wasn't a season 2. Pretty bad overall. All No Zero, kind of bad overall. Shimai Mound, Testament, I don't know what you're talking about. I was never 14 in my entire life. Horny show, very bad horny show. Oh god, I hate it. The opening for Born is fucking sick. This opening is fucking baller. All No Zero second season better? Question mark? I don't know. I like some stuff a lot. I like Slain Tread a lot, but everything else about the show is like, oh god, okay. Heavy Object, I don't know, it kind of just bored me the first 3 episodes I saw. Why No Seraph, worse than the first season. Cryptic as fuck. Salt Man, he turns into Salt Man. That was funny. Is the Order a Rabbit? It didn't appeal to me. Hackadoll, Fever Dream, short, kind of sort of comedy. I watched most of it. It was fine-ish. Like, I should probably give this a 5. Like, this was entirely watchable. Just, like, kind of boring and kind of cringe. Sanchez Anyo, I don't like the characters very much. And it's a slice of life, so not like the characters is like, wow, so you don't like the show? Okay. Masamune and Kun's Revenge. Oh, man. This show, I thought, like, going through the first half of the show, I was like, this shit's fucking kind of sick. Like, everyone's like, main character, he's the main character of a light novel, so he's like this good guy, he'll treat this girl well, and it's like the whole time he's like, I can't wait to fucking destroy this girl's feelings, I can't wait till she kneels before me. And it's like, slowly it's like, oh wait, he's actually just gonna, like, it's a light novel, he's actually gonna fall in love with her. Fuck. And I saw the last final arc coming, and I heard about it, I was like, that is cringe, I'm not willing to put myself through, so I dropped it at episode 9. Kimetsu no Yaiba looks really good sometimes. It's not hard to have like 2 episodes that look really good when you spend most of the budget on standing completely still talking like fucking jerk off idiots about conversation no one cares about and characters that aren't interesting. When I watched this, the first episode made me so mad because it was like, no, please, I promise my sister is special. She's this only special demon to ever exist. And it's like, this poor fucking kid, he's gonna have to figure out that his sister isn't special and that there's no exceptions and that this world is sad. And it's like, oh, his sister's just special. And he just, okay, well, fuck this shit. But then like episode 2 and 3 is like, whoa, the pacing and how much they do is sick. What? And it's just like, after that, it's kind of just boring. Fire Force. Dude, this was like the first show. Okay, not the first. Jesus Christ, definitely not the first. But this was one of the first shows where I was like, whoa, this show looks fantastic. But the directing is so bad. What? How did they do this? Like, I challenge you to watch the first, like, 2 episodes and be like, oh yeah, all those action sequences flowed like they should have. They don't. But the show looks good other than that. But the plot is just fucking, like, the first main bad person, Step on Me, Mommy, Fire Force girl, like, you can tell from that whole arc in her character that, like, her trying to be an actual villain is like, yeah, that show has no worthwhile writing at all, does it? Shippuden. Naruto, but bad, because instead of, it's all about hard work and talent. Not talent can be overcome sometimes. It's all about, actually, my Jinchuriki, Simpak Yuku, Tatsumaki, Amaterasu, Susanoo, kill you, die, chop. Cringe. Also, I don't like Sakura. She just gets a power-up because she's like, actually, in these 3 years, I worked hard. It's like, wow, where were you when everyone else was working hard for longer than that? No? Okay. Was there a vampire? Dude, I was like fucking, like literally 12. The show is bad. This is a show people was like, this is a show you gotta watch, bro. This is a classic. I don't think anybody who got an anime in the last like 6 years has heard of this show, and that's for good reason. It's very bad. The Ice Girl is really hot though. I can't lie, but you didn't hear that from me. Having Lost Property, 12-year-old fever dream. What can I say? Fan service vehicle. Cat Shit 1, cinematic masterpiece. You should watch this in a group for the first time. It's fun. Strike Witches. Okay, so I understand. I don't know. At the time, I watched this when I was like literally 13 or something, and I for some reason I couldn't get it through my head that this was like a parody show. Like, haha, I get it. It's stupid and funny. I just thought it was taking itself seriously for some reason. So I was like, I hate this show. Why it's so stupid? I don't know. This gave me brain trauma when I found out it existed because I thought there was only 1 season and I hated it. But like this was the point where I was like, I have to finish every show. I can't drop anything, which is stupid. Kiss X's. So after we watched Years Ago No Story in a Skype call, we're like, what other dumb porn show can we watch in a call that would be funny? We tried to watch this. It was not even entertaining on that level. Boring. Cringe. Sister fetishes are cringe. If you don't think so, you probably don't have a sister. Moving on. Bad. Idolmaster. I don't know. I watched this when I was like 13, and I was bored by it then. So, not good tidings. Excel World. I liked this show for a while. I watched this shit not that long after it aired, when I kind of still just watched anything. I liked the show for a while because I was like, whoa, like powers that are like based on your personality and like a fighting spirit based off of that. That's so unique. I've never seen this concept before. Could you tell I hadn't seen JoJo's Bizarre Adventure by that point? Yeah. It's kind of incredible though, because the second half of the show, of this 24-episode show, the whole second half is like them getting blackmailed by this dude, and he's just such a god. He blackmails them for 12 episodes straight. Is that not incredibly impressive? Yeah. Watched it for a meme. Was not entertaining. I hate this show. I was nothing like this. Were people actually like this? Oh God. Don't be like this. I'm not going to shame you, except I am. Up at Company. Cringe. Someone told me it was good. It was not. Hitsuga no Chika, except the bad ending. Nakama Power Da. Tokyo Ghoul Root. Nobody liked this. Dungeon. I kind of liked it at the time when I still watched anything. And I got back to it like a year later when I had developed a little bit more taste. And I was like, wow, I am scum. This is the worst show. Porn show. I didn't like it really. Gate. Oh, this one hurt. That one hurt a lot. I watched both seasons. I liked it a little bit at the time because, again, I still kind of just watched anything at this point. I really didn't develop any actual, like, semblance of what I liked and taste and, like, eye for writing until, like, 2016-ish. Anything before that I watched before that point, I kind of was just like, I'll watch anything. I will watch any ecchi show. I literally don't care. The show is extremely bad. Overlord Season 3. Wow, this season is vile. I hate this shit. Sword Art Online. One of the shows that you like when you're 12, and then you watch it after and you're like, wow, maybe anybody can change. That being said, I watched a lot of it. I love this quote from Sword Art Online 2. They're playing a video game, and she says, oh, he's smiling. I can't wait. I need to be strong enough to smile on the battlefield. It's a video game, girl. You are cringe. Siren Kaga, cringe fan service. The show looks ugly. It's fan service and it looks bad. How do you do that? Ore Twin Tail ni Nanimasu. Funny show. I watched one episode. I'm not going to watch more. It wasn't that funny. But the concept is funny. Not 24 minutes funny, though. To Over Darkness 2nd. My least favorite season of the show. Poor Yami. She deserved better than this. Cringe. Gamers. Omega cringe. Watch this at your own peril. It will inflict mental damage upon you. You like cringy misunderstandings? You like main character is like the worst embodiment of every personality trait you could have from a gamer. Yeah, it's that. Dungeon 2. My brother and I watched part of this as a meme since we were like, haha, the show's really bad. It was really bad. So much that we didn't pay any fucking attention. Trigun. I need to watch it. Oh, and then here's like plan to watch or like stuff I couldn't rate. Like Full Metal Alchemist 2003. I watched this when I was like literally 12. I don't remember enough to compare it accurately. Serial Experiments Lane. I don't know how to even rate this show. I need to rewatch it again because it was like 4 years ago that I watched it. But the show is fantastic. I just couldn't put a number to it. It's an entirely different experience. To Loveru at the bottom here in hopes that you will never see it on my list. Same with Strike Witches. Same with Zeno Tsukaima. Same with Data Life. Same with... Oh, no. This show is funny for one episode. Okay. On a more serious note, for people who made it through, I hope that kind of gives you an overview of, like, what I kind of like and value what I've seen when I'm working on watching, maybe what I intend to make videos about in the future. For anyone who sat through all 2 hours of this, I am so sorry. I get so carried away talking about the lower half of my list that it's really funny, but hopefully this was of any value to anyone ever. But you can't say I didn't explain my stuff now. But yeah, back to making actually edited videos and script-based. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it gave you a little bit more perspective on my taste. See y'all in the next one.